Denny Hamlin led 131 laps at Kansas. He managed the pace. He controlled the long runs. He watched Tyler Reddick chase him down, and then watched Reddick run out of fuel and hit the wall with 3 laps left. At that exact moment, the race was over. Hamlin had done everything right. Then a driver running 6 laps down, with 0 relevance to the lead battle, spun out in turn 4. Yellow flag. Overtime. Field reset. The man who owned that race for 4 hours finished 4th. I'll say what a lot of people won't. NASCAR. Overtime has a serious problem. And Kansas just showed us exactly what that looks like. Before we go further, this channel gives you real analysis with a real position. No safe opinions, no both sides hedging. If that's what you want from NASCAR coverage, subscribe right now. 2 seconds. Helps more than you know. Now let's get into it. Kansas Speedway. April 19, 2026. AdventHealth 400. Hamlin dominates. Stage 1. Leads the majority of the afternoon. His pace is consistent. His tire management is clean. Reddick challenges with real speed. But with 3 laps left, Reddick runs out of fuel and hits the wall. Race over. Hamlin is clear. Then Cody Ware spins. Laps down. Not a factor. Not near the lead. Just a backmarker doing what backmarkers occasionally do. And that spin, that completely irrelevant spin, triggered overtime and reset everything. That's the line right there. Not a crash from the lead battle. Not 2 competitors fighting for position. A lapped car. And suddenly the whole race is re-racked. This isn't about bad luck. Drivers deal with bad luck all season. This is about a rule that takes bad luck and turns it into a race-deciding mechanism. That's a design problem. Not a racing problem now. The restart itself. Because this is where people say, that's just racing, and walk away. Stay with me. Hamlin takes the inside lane as leader. Reddick lines up outside. Kyle Larson slots in directly behind Hamlin on the inside second row. Hamlin knew the move was coming. He said it himself after the race. I fell for the same move the No. 5 got me with a couple years ago when I was on the inside. He recognized it. He named it. He still couldn't escape it. Green flag. Larson dives low. Hamlin gets squeezed into the middle lane. Worst position in a 2-lap sprint. Makes contact with his own JGR teammate Christopher Bell down the backstretch. Brushes the wall. Fades to 4th. Reddick through. Larson through. Hamlin gone. And here's the question I want you to sit with. At that point, are we really finishing the same race anymore? Or are we running a 2-lap brawl that barely looks like the one we just watched for 3 hours? Because if it's the second one, the overtime finish didn't settle who was best that day. It settled who survived the reset. Comment right now. Racing or 2-lap lottery? Real answers only before anyone says, that's just racing. I want to be precise about what I'm actually arguing. Because precision matters here. I'm not saying overtime should not exist. Nobody wants races ending under caution every week. The impulse to protect a green flag finish makes sense. The problem is not that overtime exists. The problem is how powerful it's become. The current system doesn't just offer a green flag attempt when a race is interrupted late. It consistently prioritizes a dramatic finish above everything that happened before it. And when a rule favors the final 2 laps over the previous 3 hours on a regular basis, you've changed what the race is actually measuring. That means the race stops rewarding who is best all day and starts rewarding who survives the reset. The sport hasn't become rigged, it's become tilted, and there's a big difference. Rigged means someone is deciding outcomes. Tilted means the rulebook itself leans toward a certain kind of ending, whether the race earned it or not. Kansas was tilted. Badly. And Hamlin paid the full price if this argument is landing. Hit like right now. Tells the algorithm this matters. Gets this in front of the fans who are thinking the exact same thing. One click, and here's why Kansas hit differently than a normal overtime finish. Because this isn't the first time for Denny Hamlin, not even close. Think about what you know about him. One of the smartest race managers in the garage. Best at controlling pace. Best at reading tires. Best at executing over a long fuel run. Every skill you need to outlast a field across 4 hours, he has it at an elite level. And yet this sport keeps putting him in the same spot. Dominant. Through most of the race. Gone at the end. Not beaten by a faster car. Beaten by a restart dynamic that barely resembles the race he just ran. He was so wrecked after losing the 2025 championship in overtime that he went on his own podcast and said, his words, "It doesn't make me want to race right now in this moment anymore." A man who has given 30 years of his life to this sport said overtime made him not want to race. After Kansas this week, Fox's Jamie Little said he looked more heartbroken than she'd ever seen him after any loss. Think about how insane that is. The best race manager in the field can do everything right and still spend the final 2 laps hoping the rulebook doesn't erase him. That's not about luck. That is a question about what this sport has decided to reward now. I'll give the other side the strongest version of their argument, not the weakest. Fans will say overtime is part of modern NASCAR, that everyone races under the same rules, that Hamlin himself has won because of overtime restarts, that unpredictability is the product, and if races ended with the leader just running out the clock, casual fans disappear fast. And honestly, that has real weight. Hamlin has won because of late restarts. The sport's unpredictability is part of what makes it different. And a race ending under caution genuinely does feel unsatisfying, even to people who care deeply about fair competition. I'm not dismissing any of that, but that argument answers a different question. Should overtime exist? Yes, fine. That fight is basically over. Should overtime be powerful enough to override 3 hours of competitive work on a regular basis? That is a completely different question, and it deserves a different answer. Not existence. Scale. That's the whole argument. And right now, the scale is wrong. If you've made it this far, subscribe, because this kind of breakdown is exactly what we do every single week. Here is the verdict. Clean. No hedging. Kansas did not prove NASCAR is fake. Anyone making that argument is actually making the real point weaker because it's easy to dismiss. Don't make that argument. What Kansas proved is harder to wave away. It proved that when overtime is this powerful, fans are slowly trained to distrust the race. Not all at once, not consciously, but gradually. When dominant drives finish fourth often enough, when overtime reshuffles the order regularly enough, fans start doing the math. They start skipping to the last 10 minutes. They stop investing in strategy battles and long green flag runs because somewhere in the back of their mind, they've learned it's never truly safe. And once fans believe the race can be reset at any moment, they stop respecting what came before. The reset. That is not more excitement. That is weaker credibility. Because excitement built on real stakes hits differently than excitement built on a reset button. One earns something. The other just clears the board. NASCAR right now leans too far toward the reset. And that is a long-term problem the sport cannot afford to ignore. So, your verdict, and I need you to pick a side. Not, it depends. Not both have merit. Should NASCAR cap overtime to 1 attempt, green-white checkered, 1 shot, caution comes out again and the race ends right there? Yes, 1 attempt. Or no. Keep unlimited restarts, that's it. Comment yes or no right now. Because the chase format changed because fans were loud enough for long enough. NASCAR responds when the volume is real. The format shifted in 2026 because enough people said the same thing, clearly, repeatedly. Your comment is not nothing. Drop it. Here's where we end. Denny Hamlin is still second in the 2026 Cup standings. Tyler Reddick just won his 5th race of the season. That is genuinely one of the best individual stretches of racing we've seen in years. But none of that changes what Kansas asked out loud. What is NASCAR actually rewarding? If the answer is craft, racecraft, execution, long-run excellence, the ability to manage a race across 4 hours, then the overtime system as currently built keeps undermining that. Answer: consistently, predictably. Dominance should not be this fragile. That's not drama. That's distortion. If this video said something you've been thinking, like it. Share it. Subscribe. New content every week. Real opinions. No fence sitting. See you in the next one. And the final word on Kansas? Denny Hamlin. Lost that race in 2 laps. The problem is, he spent 3 hours earning the right not to.